Alright guys, we're going to kick off the main event. Are you ready? Woo! Let's raise the roof. Go absolutely wild. Welcome, it's the wonderful movie Hawke!
Ethan Kavanagh, everyone. Give him another round of applause. That's not going to change this very well. How are we all doing tonight? We doing well? Yep, I've just finished year 12, so I've had a lot of time on my hands. I've been watching a lot of reality TV shows. Let's do some crowd work. Who here has a favourite serial killer? Just testing the waters. Put your hand up. Who's got a favourite one? You seemed excited. Yeah.
Yeah, what about Ed Kemper?
Never heard of that one. Tell us the story.
He killed a lot of people.
General gist of serial killers, yeah.
Going home from college.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. And
it's a fun one.
He killed his mum.
As they do.
He ended up seeing things. And then he became a prison psychiatrist after turning himself in.
He turned himself in?
Yeah.
What a snitch. You guys are awfully close. Hello. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of those true crime TV shows. You know the ones where the graphics look like a Year 10 presentation on cyberbullying? The narrator just gets on the microphone all seductive in an isolated neighborhood. And then they just start hyping up the serial killer. You know, they're like, he killed 40 hitchhikers in a Toyota Corolla. He looks like Elon Musk and Chewbacca had a baby, okay? He's driving a Toyota Corolla. If you willingly got in that car, that's called natural selection. Then they interview them, don't they? They put them in the interview room, they sit them down, they get a thin pane of glass in the middle, and right as they're about to confess, they just start blasting like inspirational music in the background. Like if I wanted to have an emotional connection to a psychopath, I'd just watch Andrew Tate. I don't need this. Yeah, and then they always end up confessing to more stuff in those rooms, don't they? Than they previously did. They're always like, that's when the cops found the 30 bones in my refrigerator, and the policeman's like, no we didn't. My favourite part of this show is the mums. The mums are great. They are one of my favourite parts of the show. Because the mums always think that their child is the second coming of Jesus, and they have ignored like all the signs. So in their interviews they're like, nah, he's never done nothing wrong, like even when he locked that Italian exchange student in a theatre basement. Like, now, I love the voices on these shows because they always start off really deep, you know, and there's a limited range of accents you can have in these serial killer TV shows. Like, can you imagine if you just switched on the Netflix queue and it was like a Jamaican voice? Like, that wouldn't work. Like, Tebondig one go mash up me gun in the morals. Kick up a rumpus with that ragamuffin and run as fast as humanly possible. He made her feel the reggae as he rattled her bones. Like, it's not a thing that happens. Is that too far? Is that too... another one I've been watching is A Current Affair. Anyone seen A Current Affair? Yeah, I love it. Just because the titles alone, it's always like, naked grandma dies of vape overdose while on schoolies in Bali. And then somehow they always manage to live up to the expectation that the titles set. It's really, I mean, vaping. Anyone here vape? I don't think it's that bad, alright, and I'm gonna... if you're gonna die, like, think about it, okay? Like, just imagine you're on death row. Not saying it's gonna happen, but also, like, statistically. Right, just imagine you're on death row and they're like, do you want the electric chair? Do you want the lethal injection? I'm like, no, I want the chocolate colada Mr. Park for the side. Berries and straw. I want to feel my death, you know. But you know, we all have that family member who watches these reality TV shows, don't we? And they're always just coming up to you on Christmas morning saying the most ridiculous things, you know. They'll just walk in, the opening line will be like, hey buddy, did you know that the vaccine gives you autism? And you're just like, hey Aunt Shelley, did you know that methamphetamines aren't a breakfast food? Now, I have never killed anyone yet. But I do want a Netflix special and it seems like the best way. one area that seems to be lacking diversity, right, is in serial killers, it seems. Like, why does every serial killer look like your average white guy? Like Jason with a Y, who works in marketing at JB Hi-Fi. He's got wraparound sunglasses. What was that? Was that my eyes or these lights? I might just be having a stroke up here. Can anyone else smell burnt toast? A stupid bowl cut, like Shaggy out of Scooby-Doo. A cigarette hanging out the side of his mouth. Then a terrifying go and get him attitude. The reporters aren't much good anyway. They always ask them stupid questions like, what would be your dream holiday? A trip to Nepal with my girlfriend Jeanette, but that's not going to happen. She's declared legally dead. And only on Netflix is this true. Only on Netflix I assure that it won't happen to you. But on Netflix you'll find murder stories, sexual storylines and twists and plots and more. The voiceover artists sound like they're in cardiac arrest. On the outskirts of Ohio, Santa's been stabbed in the chest. The writers' rooms are brilliant at creating atmosphere. You know Ted Bundy, he seems likeable, like you could grab a beer. They're a recipe for disaster, teaching you how to commit a crime. John Wayne Gacy is kind of good looking, now get in the car, we should be fine. But it doesn't take 18 episodes to work out who's the killer. It's Damien with the Ute who's always camping by the Yarra River. And only on Netflix is this true. Only on Netflix I assure that it won't happen to you. But on Netflix you'll find murder stories, sexual storylines and twists and plots and more. And they kind of walk you through like a step-by-step guide on how to kill someone. Like, they just take you on a journey through the killer's mind just in time to meet your fate. You'll become the devil's best mate. Just pick up the knife and do it. Nobody's watching. I'll guide you through it. Just grab it, stab it right into him and breathe a sigh of relief as the blood starts to spurt. We'll cover up the evidence, don't you worry. Don't show any remorse, remember you're not sorry. It's nature, it's natural evolution, it'll happen. But we just sped up the process. The police are on their way, so get in the car, put your foot on the pedal and drive hella fast. There's a forest in the distance, we can hide over there. And then, in a few months' time, the feds will be out of our hair. We'll make a documentary where we're really, really honest and then sell it to Netflix, millions of dollars. Can you do that? Can you do it?
Yes.
Have you got all the instructions?
Yep.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Thumbs up? Only on Netflix. Only on Netflix. I'm sure that it won't happen to you, but on Netflix you'll find murder stories, sexual storylines, and twists and plots and more. On Netflix, there's always time to discern the truth without a reason or rhyme. Like a more bingeable, a current affair, but instead of Tracy Grimshaw hosting, it's a TikToker with better hair. And only on Netflix there will be a Jeffrey Dahmer documentary in the soap opera category. There might be someone you know, a teacher from your old high school.
Emily.
Curiosity grows. Trust me, it's worth the monthly fee. And maybe next time you'll see me. That was another one. This one's about a current affair. Tonight on a current affair, a dodgy plumber left the job undone. Then a child kidnapper entered the worksite and stole the plumber's son. You've got horrible parents and shithouse friends, drunken childcare teachers. When does it all end? At exactly 7:30 p.m. Then we'll clock off. Damage done. Gotta run, but it's been fun. We'll see you tomorrow, same time and place. It's so great that we've got a job and you're on youth allowance. So pick on you, pick on the major issues like global politics and government corruption, or a major news and media disruption. Tonight on a current affair, a dog bit a woman's arm off in the shower because the plumber left an unfinished job. Later, a grandma king hit a doctor after refusal of a COVID swab. Also, a cat got stuck in the gap between the airplane's wing and the fuselage. Then the engine overheated and the firefighters all blew up. Tonight on a current affair, then we'll cock up. Damage done, gotta run, but it's been fun. We'll see you tomorrow, same time and place. It's so great that we've got a job and you're homeless. So pick on you, ignore the major issues like global politics and government corruption, or a major news media disruption. Tonight on a current affair. Thank you. This might be an ongoing issue. You think after 4 years I would have got that down pat, but no. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Thank you all for trusting me to do this, because I don't have a very trustworthy face, do I? It's true, I look like a terrorist got trapped in the body of a teenager. Like, if you saw this face next to any headline in the Herald Sun, chances are I probably did it. I'm basically a walking, talking bomb threat. The fact that you guys are here means that you completely ignored the saying, if you see something, say something. So I get stopped like 100% of the time I go through border security at an airport. Anyone else had this? Yeah? Pretty wide audience. Usually there's like, yes! But you guys are like, no. One time, but that's because there was like a brown person in front of me, and like, I was like, I'll take one for the team. So I've just started making small talk with them. You know, I'm like, how long have you been a border security agent? They're like, 6 years. And I say, in 6 years, have you ever caught a terrorist? Because here's the thing, they've got to be the worst at their jobs, right? Like, can you imagine if you worked at the Apple store for 6 years straight and never sold an iPhone? Can you imagine if you went to like a private school for 6 years straight and never screamed out anything homophobic on public transport? Like, it just doesn't happen. And it doesn't help that my mum likes to bring like half the Coles meat aisle in the suitcase with her on the plane. I'm like, Mum, what are you doing? She's like, my people have come way too far to start hunting again. I'm like, Mum, you're not even African, why are you speaking like that? But I don't know if anyone else's mum does this, but she will make me wear the clothes that I can't fit in the suitcase. Which means I'm walking through airport security wearing like 7 hoodies, 6 pairs of pants, 8 pairs of socks. I'm wearing so many layers, the bomb probably wouldn't even detect it, you know? Like, the joke's on them, you know? Anyway. No, my mum's fine. When I went on my first school camp, I handed her the form. She handed one back to me, already signed. Suitcase was packed. I hadn't even told her where I was going yet. It's almost like it didn't matter. You know, mums do this thing, you know, they're not doctors. Most of them aren't doctors, but they seem to be able to diagnose every medical issue, can't they, with no experience whatsoever. And they're just convinced it's right. Like a year ago I came home, I was like, Mum, I've got COVID. She was like, it's because you're not drinking enough water. That's what it is, because you're not drinking enough water. Go have some water. Like, I was like, Mum, I broke my leg. Went to the hospital, did an x-ray, there's a fracture. She was like, it's because you're not walking enough. Go for a run. Leave the house, go for a run, then drink some water. Like, I was like, Mum, I think I'm having a heart attack. I've got a pain going through this side of my chest to the other. She was like, you need 2 Nurophens and have a lie down. It's like she's trying to kill me. But yeah, there are differences. I've got a white dad and I've got a brown mum. So what I'll do is I'll tell you a story about each of them just to paint the picture. All right, now they don't know this is happening yet. They're sitting over there if you want to like look at them directly. Anyway, So this is my dad, right? My dad's white, and I'll give you an example. He doesn't get mad very easily. Like, one time, it's going to sound bad, it's not that bad. One time, I accidentally flooded the house. Right? It's not that bad. I'll say it again. One time, I accidentally flooded the house. So what happened was, the water was off, okay? And I put a plug in the sink, left the tap running. And then I walked out. For the day. And I come back, I'm standing in front of my dad's behind me, and I open the door, and I open it, and it's just like a tsunami. So I get in front of the door, I'm like, Dad, there may be an issue, okay? There may be an issue. He's like, what's the problem? I'm like, it's gonna sound bad, but I may or may not have flooded the house. He reacted better than you guys did, I'm gonna be honest. And then he just started giving me life advice as he's wading through the water. He's just like, don't worry, we all make mistakes, you know, it all happens sometimes. Just try to keep your head above the water and it'll be all good. Like my mum, on the other hand, right, one time in year 6, I think I got my first phone, and I was up until like 1 a.m. in the morning on Instagram, okay, and I made the grave error of... Anyway. I made the grave mistake of liking one of her posts. And I knew it was bad because I just hear, Molly! And her door swings open, footsteps start coming to my door. She just kicks the door open, puts a torch in my face and goes, why are you still awake? And I said I downloaded an app that lets you like Instagram posts in advance. You know when your mom like doesn't even pretend to like, she just looked at me, she just said, pack your bags, you're going on school camp. School camp is fun. This is the next interactive part of the show. Who here has a fun school camp story? No.
Isn't that an oxymoron?
Well, you volunteered, so you've got to go now. Alright, do you have a fun school camp story?
The opposite.
The opposite?
Like to stand up?
No. I should do this, really.
Okay, so year 8 camp, right? Everyone from memory like paid the same entry, paid everything. We were told, of course, you know, like you're going to go there, get some cabins, it'll be great.
Yeah.
Anyway, we get there. Turns out that there's nowhere near enough cabins. Like not even close to the right amount. Like 40% of people were just stuffed in tents.
Yeah.
And I remember it really well because I think the tent was about 1.5 meters square, and we had like 4 people in it. And it was also on top of an anthill.
Yeah.
And all my friends were in an air-conditioned cabin. And every day, like I saw them, they'd be like, "Oh, how'd you sleep?" Oh, no air conditioning, right? So I wouldn't call it fun, but it's a story. You know?
Now, Liam, you're going to get angry at this, what I'm about to say. I went on the same school camp as you. And I managed to get an air-conditioned cabin.
Everyone else did.
Because I lied to the teacher's aide about having sleep apnea. I got a TV, I got coffee, and I was sweet, okay? How was the anthill, by the way? I saw it out the window.
Yeah, you could probably see it from space.
Yeah, we were watching it from the balcony, okay? We had a fully stocked bar, it was fantastic. But, okay, so school camps, I don't know how they're legal. Like, you get there on the bus, it rolls up, you get out, it looks like a serial killer's, like, torture chamber. There's just, like, literally, there's, like, dirt on the ground, there's, like, a wooden pole with some spikes in it, and they're just like, you can climb that. Like, it's not great. And then the camp instructors will run up to you, like, at 7 a.m. in the morning and be like, hey, buddy, do you want to go on the Flying Fox? And you'll be like, hey, Cassandra, you need rehab, okay? We need to get you to rehab. Yeah, one time I went on the Flying Fox. Now, it's not as bad as it sounds, but I get to the Flying Fox. This is on the same year 8 camp. Remember we went over a canyon? Yeah, the person strapping me in had one arm. She said, do you reckon you could do the buckle? Because I can't quite, like, get my hands around it, so I strapped myself in. I was pretty sure I was going to die. But I'm still here, unfortunately. So that happened. And then on year 5 camp, we had, there was like a rock wall, and we had to climb up that rock wall and then abseil down it afterwards. Now, there's one thing about this physique you can probably tell. It's not built for either rock climbing or abseiling. So I ended up having to have my whole class drag me up the cliff while I'm just being like lifted with my arm, giving them advice. I'm like, put your back into it! And then they lowered me down. I'm surprised they didn't drop me, to be honest. Year 5 me would have dropped everyone else in that class. But yes, I go to a public school, as you can tell, because yeah. Any private school kids in? Woo. Yeah. Where? Hand up. Is that you, Ethan?
Yes.
You know what, guys? I reckon we can jump in. I reckon reckon we can do? We got the cameras rolling. This is a viral. Are you okay with being jumped after the show or not?
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever you want.
All right. See, that's a fantastic opener right there. Now, there are differences between private and public schools. You know, we have COVID, they have cocaine. There's differences, you know, like their rival school might be Xavier College, but our rival school is the local juvenile detention centre. It just kept stealing my classmates. It's a wonder there are a few of you here today that survived. I'm going to say 2 words. So, the person who will remain unnamed for legal reasons, I'm going to have to bleep that out. Or not. We can just go all in. Was a music and psychology teacher who got arrested for being disorderly at an anti-vaxxer protest. Just to paint a picture of the guy, one time in year 7, he walked into the classroom and his opening line was, "Do you kids know what a hangover is?" We said no. He put on Rick and Morty and fell asleep in the back of the classroom. Fantastic teacher. I love him. Who knew this was going to be the guy getting pepper sprayed in the face in a shirt that said "Reclaim the Line"? He did give me a C in psychology, but he sent me that C from a cell, so we're good to go. Let's do some more school stuff. This is fun. A couple of years ago at our school during COVID, a bunch of Year 12s had the wonderful idea that they wanted to join ISIS. They've been watching a few videos online and they thought, you know what we should do on a Tuesday? We should join ISIS. And I don't know if any of you guys faced any challenges in lockdown, okay, but you know, it was difficult to go to the supermarket, it was difficult to go out to see shows like this, and it was also difficult to join ISIS. Okay, so they decided they wanted to join ISIS. This is a true story, by the way. So, in lockdown, the only way they could do it was they had to leave school, fly to Darwin, okay, then build a metal dinghy, and then row to, I think it was Venezuela or Argentina? Do you have the answer? You seem like you're smiling.
It's like, I think it was Papua New Guinea.
Papua New Guinea. We'll go with that. They had to row to Papua New Guinea, okay, and then halfway, they build the metal dinghy to join ISIS. They get on the plane to join ISIS. They get to Darwin to join ISIS. And then they build the metal dinghy and they're rowing out in the middle of the ocean and suddenly they hear and border security caught them. First time they've ever caught a terrorist went to high school. And it wasn't me! So... then they're still in prison to this day. And in that serial killer interview room, when they asked them what motivated them, they said it was the free-thinking ideology of high school. So... One time when I was in, I think it was year 8, I went to hand a form into the office and then I see 20 police officers run through the front doors with their guns drawn screaming, "Get on the ground!" So I got on the ground and I went, oh, it must be because of the knife fight I walked past. Now, the funny part of the story is the office lady, okay? The office lady just picks up the intercom and just goes, "Excuse me, students. Can you please stay in your classrooms? A tree has fallen down." Please stay in your classrooms. A tree has fallen down. You know it's bad when your office ladies are media trained, okay? I know what kind of tree. Because my eyes are witnessing what is 100% a stabbing happening in front of me. My favourite part of school was the guest speakers. They were fantastic, weren't they? Favourite one was this woman. She came in and she wanted to give a speech about what we should do after school. You know, we should follow our dreams. You know, and she gave the analogy of being an entrepreneur because she started her own perfume business. Now, I looked it up afterwards and it was 100% a pyramid scheme that got shut down by ASIO. And the English teacher was like, "Fucking get her in." Another one, we had a police officer, you know, the police officer came in, just did sort of general sort of drug education stuff for a public school. You know, don't take drugs. If you do, give half to a friend, see if they do. You know, and I stayed afterwards to sort of ask him some questions because he said, "You have questions, stay around afterwards." And he had some interesting tattoos On this arm, he had a serpent with a spear through it, the number 6 on one side and the number 9 on the other. He had a serpent with a spear through it, the number 6 on one side and then the number 9 on the other. So I said, "Excuse me, good sir, what does that tattoo mean? Please don't shoot me." And he said, "Well, buddy, what happened was I got the serpent when I got married. And then what happened was I got the spear through it when I got a divorce." And I said, "What about the 69? And he said, "Well, my son was born on the 6th of the 9th. On this arm, we just had Jesus on a cross. I was like, "What's that for?" It's like, "It's when I'm lifting weights, you know, I'm breaking him free." I was like, more like when you're reaching for the pistol. It was fantastic. I have been watching another reality TV show. It is called Bondi Rescue. Anyone here seen Bondi Rescue? Yeah. It used to be fantastic. I used to love it. It used to just be like ripped guys like ripping their shirts. Like, that's not the... I'm gonna go back to here so we have a cut point. We have a cut point for the special. So it's like men. People running into the water just like saving babies and like kicking perverts in the throat. It's a great show. But the thing is, it's changed, you know, because they've still got the tough exterior, but the stuff they say doesn't match up to that. You know, it's always stuff like, "Hey Ezekiel, do you reckon you could go and save that baby? I can't punch the shark anymore because I'm fully vegan now." They've got excuses for everything. But you know what I love? I love watching the compilations on Bondi Rescue of the shark attacks. Okay, because what it is it's some punter whose name is like Jaden, Hayden, Braden, or Caden, okay, who's just decided to swim into the middle of the ocean with his girlfriend he met 2 weeks ago at strike bowling, right? And he's in the middle of the ocean, no shark nets anywhere, and he's like, "Oh, nah, maybe there's a shark, hey." So anyway, what ends up happening is they always get rescued by the lifeguards, which is a bit annoying for me because I'm always punting for the shark. And they never win. But afterwards, the lifeguards always give life advice to the camera, and the life advice that the lifeguards give is never good. It's always like, "Mate, you know, what you got to do is you got to think of life like a sandwich, yeah? Because whichever way you flip it, the bread's always going to be on the top." How does that save me from a great white? In what world? Anyway, I went on schoolies, and I found myself almost in an episode of Bondi Rescue. So if there's one thing that brown people are great at, it's swimming. So I go and get the boogie board and I go to paddle out into the middle of the ocean. Okay, my friends are there with me, and then suddenly I realise that my friends are now over there and I'm now over there. And I'm being slowly dragged out to sea. Right? So I'm like, guys, I need a little bit of help here. And they're giving advice that they think is helpful, but it's really not. It's like, just do doggy paddle. Do you know how to do leapfrog? And I'm like, I'm fucking drowning! So anyway, I look behind me, right, and there's a great shadow. There is a black shadow coming towards me. It's either a seal, a shark, or a surfer. Luckily it was number 3. He goes, "Hello, do you need a hand?" I was like, "Yes, I would love a hand." And he scoops me up and he puts me onto the surfboard and he goes, "There you go, buddy." I say, "What is your name?" And he goes, "Fernando Hernandez Martinez the third." His name was Steve, but anyway. So I paddle to the water and I get out. My friends go, "That is the hottest lifeguard we have ever seen." And I go, "I know." And anyway, the next day, it is a storm and there's like 4 of us and we decide it is a great idea to go out into the middle of the ocean in a thunderstorm near rocks because nothing bad ever happens there. Right, so we go into the middle of the ocean. I am on the shore, still panicked because of the day before. I'm like, we're gonna get eaten by jellyfish. It's gonna be bad. Anyway, my friend starts to go under, and I see up the top 2 lifeguards. They see this, they get on a surfboard, they run down, they run into the ocean, and they save them. She comes out, okay, and she comes out. She comes out of the water. The friend's name was Jasper. She comes out of the water, okay. And not only are there 2 lifeguards, but they are twice as hot as the guy before. This is some Zac Efron Baywatch level shit. And she just comes out and goes, I beat you, and I go, what? So the moral of that story is that the life advice they should be giving on Bondi Rescue isn't about sandwiches. You know, it's that, you know, screw the dating apps. Just go out to the middle of the ocean, pretend to drown. You've got a 50% chance of death, but a 50% chance of marriage, so you may as well roll the dice. See what happens. Alright, so I went to a lot of 18ths. In year 12, and they finish, you know, about midnight, 1 a.m, and we're waiting outside. I've got an Uber booked home, and the Uber says it's 1 minute away, and I can just hear coming down the driveway, coming down the street, and I can just hear, don't you know, pump it up, you've got to pump it up. The car's got lights flashing inside, it spins around, and the guy just sticks his hands out and goes, are you just having a party? My friend turns to me and goes, if you get in that car, you're gonna die. So of course, I get in the car, I say Uber for Marley, the guy is offended, he goes, buddy, I'm not just an Uber driver, right? I'm also a songwriter. And he proceeds to play the worst rap song I have ever heard, right? The backing track is just God's Plan by Drake, which is a bit ironic because if there's one thing I'm gonna need, it's God's plan. And it's about fake friends, and the lyrics are like, this song is for the fake friends, them haters, them fake friends, doesn't even rhyme. Then he cuts the music, pulls down a karaoke microphone from He goes, buddy, you're lucky you have me here today, because what I can do is I can do a live rendition for you. And I said, absolutely, let's go. So he pulls it down. He has one hand on the steering wheel and one head turned to me. He stops singing this song, right? He's improvising the lyrics. It's like, I'm in an Uber with Marley. It's kind of gnarly, right? He is improvising the lyrics to this song. He has one head behind me, and he is just going, why aren't you dancing, man? You gotta be moving. Why aren't you dancing? So I'm there just like, help. The Uber pulls up to my house. We only knocked over 4 bushes, which is fantastic. I go to get out. I say, thanks, man. Have a good night. The doors go, we are now locked in the car. I think, I'm going to try that line again. So I go, thanks, man. Have a good night. And he goes, he goes, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you an ultimatum. Now, the one thing you don't want to hear at 2 a.m. in this crazy Uber driver's car is the word ultimatum. Okay, but at this point, it's my best chance of survival. So I go on, hit me with your ultimatum. And he goes, well, buddy, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you to follow me on Instagram. And I said, I don't have Instagram. And he says, yeah, you do. What happens is before I take every Uber trip, I look up their account to check if they have Instagram. Here's your Instagram right here. Follow me, coward. So I pull out my phone. I follow him. It was great. We had lunch the next week, and he's actually in the crowd tonight. Yes. Well, in that case, I am going to close off the show with another song. Yay! And I can get the microphone to go the right way around. We got it. Yeah! Pardon? What'd you say?
I said we're so back.
We're so bad. I'm not. This is on a lean, okay? This is about to hit you, I'm sorry. If it, we haven't got insurance, don't sue, okay? This is definitely... I feel like we need to flip this around.
Have you got a problem?
Have I got a problem? You've heard a lot of my problems tonight. That is... Let's go like this. Alright. I've had a lot of bad ideas, you've heard them here tonight. Like flooding the house when the water's off and turning off the lights. I almost drowned in a rip because I was a dumbass. To get rescued by a hot European was the plan from the very start. So I fulfilled my dream of starring on Bondi Rescue, but I still want a Netflix special so I can be a serial killer too. I went to the airport and got attacked by sniffer dogs, but Mum said pop a Panadol and try to walk it off. I watched so much Current Affair, I developed a vaping habit. Even though the Uber driver kidnapped me, I still appreciate his rapping. And although I almost died at the school during a knife fight, these bad ideas are the reason I am standing here tonight. Thank you, Melbourne, you've been fantastic.